Collider. Before I even introduce the team behind this movie, I just want to give a big thank you to Team Watch for having us here tonight. It's a real honor to be able to get to host this world premiere of the movie. So thank you all for having us. And now, without further ado, I have to introduce the filmmakers because I got a lot of questions about the making of this movie. Please join me in welcoming director David Yarovesky. And we also have our star, Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to climb, quite literally. Hey, before we start, can someone get my wife the link to how this is streaming? I want my mom to see this. She couldn't make it. She's over there. Someone.
Purple hair.
Purple hair, easy to spell.
We're recording the Q&A, so she can at least experience that after.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's like a link, a live link.
Oh, no, I got you covered.
Cool.
We'll make that happen. First, I'm just going to say again, big congratulations. This is a filmmaking feat in so many ways that hopefully we're going to get to tonight. And just so all of you in the audience know, I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions. Going to save a couple minutes for all of you at the end. So if you have any questions, back pocket them, and we'll get to as many as we possibly can. David, you're getting my first question here. So
okay.
I love your filmography. Obviously, you always have a foot in the genre space, but all of your movies, The Hive, Nightbooks, Brightburn, now this, they are all wildly different. So it was making me wonder, when this script came your way, what was it about it that made you think to yourself, like, I think a two-hander contained thriller is what I need in my career next?
Okay, if I'm being totally honest, and I guess I will be for all of you, I read it. Sam sent it to me. I just made a movie with Nightbooks. I was a huge fan of Sam, and I was like, okay, I want to work with Sam. I read it, and I was scared of it because I hadn't done something like this before, and I couldn't. It took me a minute to find it. Like, I got to the page where he's playing the music and torturing him, and I went, okay, I'm definitely making this movie. But it took me a minute to like find it, you know, like find my take on it, like how, like why me? Like why am I directing this movie? Why isn't someone else directing this movie? Like what is the message I want, or like what's my angle? And it did take me a minute to sort of wrap my brain around it, and I clicked in on it, and then I just went, that's where I'm going with it, you know?
Oh, I'll follow up on that. So you're working with Michael's script here. What space did you...
Michael Ross, he's here somewhere. He did a great job. I see you.
I imagine you get a top-tier script from him, but what space...
Yeah, it was great. It was great, but I was scared of it.
Yeah. Right. What's the space that you found in it that made you say to yourself, like, I can bring this to screen in a way that feels uniquely my own as a director?
It was that scene where he's torturing him, he's playing it over and over and over again, and I went, I think I'm rooting for William right now, you know, like, and I'm enjoying what he's doing, and so I started to go, this is like funny and it's cruel, but I'm like kind of a little bit on his side. So there was a piece of me that was like, there's a
fucking
lot.
Psycho.
There was just like a lot. I just felt like he could have a lot of fun, and so it was that, and it was an opportunity. So okay, this is a longer story, whatever. So at the end of Brightburn, you know, I said earlier I made a lot of movies, a lot of music videos, and Mike and I and all of us, we worked together a lot. So I'd go over to VFX and I'd be able to speak that language. I'd go over here, I'd be able to speak that language. Then I'd go talk to an actor, and I would have no idea what to say to an actor, you know? And I found myself looking into Elizabeth Banks' eyes and just being like, I don't know what to say to you, you know? You're a big famous person, and I'm me. And so at the end of it, I went to James Gunn, if you don't, I think that's obvious, but James Gunn, and I said, okay, I told him my predicament, and he said, go to acting school. And I went, all right. And I signed up for acting school. I started doing scenes. This guy, Ben Davis, he said he's the best. Go to Ben Davis. You're welcome, Ben Davis. But that is really what he said. And I went and I started taking classes, and I started learning a lot about acting. and not because I have any interest in acting, I do not, but I wanted to have a way to communicate. And then I made a movie called Night Books, and all of a sudden, a new facet of filmmaking, kind of a new door for me to explore opened up. You know, sorry, this is a long answer, but if you were to ask me when I made The Hive what kind of movies I would make, it would just be like, oh yeah, that's the movie where people barf into each other's mouths, right? That's the movie I was making. And now, you know, so I started making Night Books and work, you know, really focusing on the performance, you know, we made a kids movie, and 20 minutes in, when you're having that turn to act 2, like the big set piece is a conversation between a bunch of actors, and I just found myself really pulling on that thread, and you could draw a line from that moment of me as a director going, I gotta learn more. I'm gonna go to acting school, to sitting next to you, working with Anthony Hopkins. Like, it just became like the real joy I got out of this was I started working with them and like finding these characters. And so I guess that's the answer. That's the real answer.
Honestly, it's a long answer that I think is well worth saying. I'm just such a big believer that everybody in this industry doesn't have to experience every single job, but it can only help you to fully understand what someone in your cast or crew goes through when they make a movie in order for you to do your best work. I love that. Bill, I'll build on that with you now. So, went and studied acting. What is something about David on this set as an actor's director that you appreciated and think makes him stand out?
I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
They do a lot of line readings for me, yeah. No, I mean, David's a fucking treat to work with. And I had a similar thing when I read the script. I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, I don't know. There was something very unique about it. I've never done this. Like, I'm like, it's just gonna be no other actors, just me in a car. This sounds amazing. And then I just missed all of my other actors so much. Like, really, it was such a unique thing of doing essentially a whole movie without co-stars. You know, yes, we had the voice of Anthony Hopkins at times pre-recorded. Also our wonderful first AD reading a lot of the lines. So, you know, Dave and I met with David and just, we really just hit it off, and I'm like, oh man, like, all right, just, you know, and Dave was just like, it's just gonna be you, me, in a car, buddy. and that's what it was, like, that was the experience, like, I think that we really sort of leaned on each other, like, in a massive way, because it's a very performance-driven movie, and it's like, okay, so, you know, 10 different colors of torture, and like, or whatever, but like, you know, it's like, how should we play this? Like, we've used this corner of the car. What about, can we try that corner?
It's a great scene, look at that backdrop.
Ooh, yeah. But there was, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. It was at times torturous for me, for real. But I just could not have done it without David. And I think our partnership was yeah.
I feel the same, you know that,
right?
It's really something else. There's so many impressive elements of this movie, but I do think the success of all those elements really does hinge on your performance and Anthony Hopkins' performance. So make this a little awkward for you right now. David, when Bill first came your way to take the role of Eddie, what was it about him that gave you confidence that he can do it? And I'm also wondering if Bill taking that role changed how you pictured Eddie when you first signed on to direct.
That's a good question. First of all, yeah, I was a big fan of Bill's, admittedly. I thought he was such a... I mean, I loved you as a clown, man. That was amazing. Yeah. And I was excited to meet you. I was excited to meet him. Wow, I'll say him, because it makes it a little intimate, doesn't it? I was excited.
We're gonna make out at the end of this.
Give the people what they want. And so I met him, and honestly, he was kind of wearing like a hoodie when I met him, and it wasn't like the Bill I had in my brain. He had like this sort of bigger hoodie on, and I was like, oh, there he is. You know, I saw it in him, and then we started talking, and he like started to like kind of embody it a little bit. I could kind of see him, and I liked him, and I was like, I could be trapped in a car with this guy for, you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine doing this movie with someone I couldn't be stuck in a car with? For that would have been a totally different. So I was like, okay, you and I are going to go on a journey together. Yeah, I mean, you remember, like, we met on Zoom first, and yeah, I was like, if you decide, first of all, I said, are you sure you want to do this? Because it was just a big ask. There's a lot of things happening. We did a lot of real stuff, you know, we didn't rely on a lot of visual effects. We went to places, you were in the back with stunt drivers and and also
Drinking the pee.
Drinking the pee. That's right. Okay, I'll tell this story. Yeah, should I tell this story? So I learned, TikTok taught me about myself that I find people retching really funny, and they have on it as, you have to say it, Sustrami?
Surströmming.
Yeah, that. So there's like a challenge on TikTok, and if you open it, you start to retch and find it really disgusting, and so...
It's a very, 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 very fermented fish.
Yeah, that's
Swedish
right.
delicacy.
Yes.
That only the toughest, most hardcore bitches like.
Yeah.
It's a kinky thing.
Yeah, it is. So on TikTok, people just open the can and start like vomiting all over their friends, and
Like, hell yeah.
I was like, hey Bill, what if I made the juice that's in that can, so you'd really retch, so I could really, because it doesn't look real, you know? People pretend to retch all the time, and it's fake. So the point of all that to say, you were really going to go through it, and also it was so much weighing on you, you know? And you were in, man.
I didn't drink the surströmming though.
Yeah.
And at one point I'm like, because I felt it insulting as well. I was like, you don't think I can like fucking gag for real? And like we did like I think like a couple without the surströmming and then with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not that bad actually. You know.
You kept saying that. You kept saying that.
Like, no, it works, right? I'm like, I could tell them. I'm like, no, that was all acting, man. I can drink this shit. Fucking fermented fish pouring down my throat.
Grant, who's here somewhere, like opened the can, and oh, there he is. Yeah, he opened the can, and how'd that go? All right, you liked it.
Bill, I got to follow up. I ask this question every once in a while, and it tickles me. So I'm going to ask it to you now. I'm always curious, what is the most seemingly simple, everyday thing that human beings do that is the most difficult to replicate as an actor? I guess now I have to add retching to the list, but I always say things like fake driving or fake waking up, fake sneezing, something like that.
Yeah, I think sneezing is, I think, probably almost, impossible to pull off. I've never tried it.
The floor is yours.
Challenge accepted.
You're giving me ideas for the sequel.
The stunts. Driving, I've been doing fake driving a lot, but I also was like, why are people bad at this?
Yeah.
Like actors, when they're like, have they never driven a car before? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's in the old movies for sure. They were like, the car would just do this the whole time.
Dude, that's how I drive.
That is how you drive.
It's that or looking at the person you're talking to for just a little too long.
Yeah.
That always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
More seriously now with your character here, one of the things that I love about this movie most is that it's a physical thriller and also a psychological thriller. And I don't know if you like to do backstory work like this, but if you do, is there any backstory you developed for Eddie that maybe we don't necessarily see or hear directly in the film, but we can feel informing, the choices he makes and how he carries himself in this situation? For sure. For this one, I mean, and there's all these little hints of his backstory in the movie. Look, you find out more about him, and that was the first thing that David and I talked about. It's like, all right, who's this guy and what is he from? And we, I draw from
childhood friends of mine or whatever. Like I'm like, oh, I know a couple of Eddies, and it's this kind of guy with a big heart, but just can't help but fuck up everything around him, But it's an endearing quality, and it's just like, oh, he just can't not be Eddie, And that was something that that drew me to the character as well. Like this kind of like I don't know, like I think I've always wanted to play like a little street weasel.
Fuckboy,
street weasel. Yeah, I don't know. So that was something fun about this kind of like urban kid, who became a dad too early and is just struggling to make it all work. It's very relatable and so I had a lot of sort of empathy for him and that and then so there was I had sort of I don't whatever it's just I don't write a book or whatever, but I was like I need to figure out the relationship with his girlfriend or ex. I don't think that they are together anymore, but she's in the co-parenting, so there's like a whole thing of like, okay, when did they meet, and like trying to flesh out this character's life more, and then we had fun. This like the look of the character, and like I just dye his hair and like stubble, and like the tattoos was a fun process. I don't know. He just kind of came alive, and an autumn, costume and finding that, and like it was a big debate. It's like, are we going pink or are we going blue with the hoodie? And I'm really glad we went with pink because like we also knew like it's a crazy thing where when doing this movie that I did. There's not that many backdrop, right? It's just like the hoodie, the color of his fucking clothes, are gonna be in the movie the whole time. Like, you know what I mean? So like, it's a big choice to make because it's like, okay, what's the palette of the movie? Is it pink? Yeah, it turns out it is pink, but that because the car is very beige.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like if you count pixels in the movie, the amount of pixels that are pink, because of that hoodie. It's like a tremendous amount of movie. It's a much bigger decision than you think.
Than normally,
What are those like colorscapes people buy from films where it's like the dominant color from each frame? I'd love to see how much of yours is pink.
Oh right, yeah, I would too.
It is a very, very effective choice. It pops so well, and the contrast with the car is just spot on. Got to dig into the production of this movie, which I'm absolutely fascinated by. I feel like if I would have read this script, the first thing that would have crossed my mind, which is probably why I'm not a filmmaker like you, is like, oh great, like shoot the whole thing on a stage. And then I read your director's statement, and one of the first things that I read was like, I knew instantly, like, we didn't want to play it safe, and we wanted to film on location and not on a stage as much as possible. So can you kind of break it down for us? How much is stage and how much is on location?
Yeah. You're looking in the wrong direction, though. There's like 10 producers here who are going, yeah, you wanted to shoot it in real life. You didn't want to shoot it on a fucking Unreal volume. God damn it. I'm just not, like, Unreal volumes and stuff like that, there's a space for that. And I think it can be really helpful in some ways, and I think it can be a crutch in others. And I think that there was a very easy version of this movie where we pull up every day, we get out, they turn it on, and then we just do it and then we go home. But it's like, it's not real, and it's not real. There's a reason things feel so disposable these days, and and there's a reason that so many of the filmmakers that you love want to go to places and do things. It's like there is just a reality to it. There's a tactileness. There is no Bill's in the back seat. There's a stunt driver driving it and doing donuts or swerving all around the parking lot. He's holding on for dear life, and it doesn't. You can have all the money in the world. You're not going to replicate his muscles holding on for dear life. The reflections on the glass of outside. It's real, and it's real when you see it, and you might be able to watch a movie and see it and get caught up in the dream or whatever, but on some level, that it's fake. And I feel like I have a relationship with my audience. I feel like I'm come on, I'm gonna tell you a story, and it's like nap time. You're gonna go into this dream, and I'm gonna kind of take you on this little dream, And every time something feels fake or inauthentic, Every time you could see that it was shot in front of a TV or something, you know, a big TV, like it just wakes you up a little bit from the dream, and it breaks that sense, you know.
I think it was a very effective choice. Now I want to look at the car. I have many questions about this car. I guess the first big broad one I have is, when you first signed on, what did you picture this car looking like, and how does that compare to the finished version everyone just saw in the film?
Okay, it went on a real journey. So, one of the things that I thought immediately when I started reading the script is, I'm not really a car person. I don't know anything about cars, you know? I'm not a car, like a lot of my friends are car guys. They'll like talk about cars. I don't know, drive like a Bronco, you know? Like I just, you know, I'm just not a car guy. And so, but what's interesting is I also really like taking on projects that I can just become totally obsessed with stuff and like learn things and study things. And so I found myself, me and Grant, really speaking to literally chasing down. I chased down a car designer on Instagram, stalked him until he would get on Zoom with me and asked him a bunch of questions about his process and like really learning about cars. I know way too much about cars now, and now my wife's like, what? Because I'll be like, oh look, there's the new Lexus that just came, you know. She's like, who are you? But and that's all to say that the thing that I knew reading it was that I wanted it to be malevolent. Like I wanted it to feel like, okay, this is a bad car, to, you know, an evil car, whatever, you know. But I wanted it to feel completely grounded in today. Like I wanted you to be able to see, like I didn't want it to be this spooky thing that drove around. Like I wanted you to watch the movie and go, I believe that could happen. And we went through this painstaking process. Like, you know, you watch the trailer, many people have watched the trailer, and they see the window come down, they see William or Anthony Hopkins' eye peeking in, they're like, oh wow, you know, that's a cool moment. But what they don't often notice is that the window lowers and the glass is like this thick, because that's really what armored glass would be like. And so Grant and I and some other people, like we just really went deep on how this would happen. Like if I wanted to build a car and trap someone in there for a while, like what would I do? And how would I actually do it? So, so that was really where my head was, like making it real.
Very, very effective and well done. I'll build on that with you now, Bill. So correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. There's the stunt car, there's the hero car that's like fully built out exterior and interior that can drive around. And then there's also the interior where the whole thing can, I guess not necessarily come apart, but to a point where you can handle lighting and camera and all that. Between all of those sets, I guess, like which one intimidated you the most? Which was the most difficult to figure out and make feel authentic for you?
Yeah, I hated that car at the end of the shoot. I don't know. I mean, the one that actually the one that because we had one that was that we built on the stage that could the doors could move. You know, there's the great opening shot of Eddie just going in, and the camera just keeps doing laps, right?
Okay.
And that's all practical, so it's like that's movie magic. Like they're literally moving doors and built like this car is like, you know, like a Transformers, right? Just like out in, and like, you know, we did like how many takes of that? Because it was like
that was the scariest day of my life, dude.
Yeah.
What you don't know is the first AD came over to me halfway through the day at lunch, and he went, "Start finding another way out of the scene. It's not going to happen."
Yeah.
And I was like, "It is going to happen. You'll see."
Yeah. Because if any timing is slightly off, you see a fake wall, you know, fake door getting pushed and pulled. So that was like a whole kind of advanced choreography. So I guess that was intimidating. Yeah, it was intimidating because I was like, all right, shit, you know, and like I knew that, you know, David was so excited about this shot, and I knew it was going to be cool, but it was just like, you know, like we had a very limited time to shoot this movie. It was a tight schedule, and it was like, all right, well, this is intimidating in that regard. Like the actual car wasn't intimidating to me, but this is a funny little thing. But like I know which car. Like, I don't think we can tell what the kind of the bone of this car is, because I'm sure they wouldn't be very happy about it. But I just finished a movie in Ireland, and all the production cars that drove me were. Yeah. So I'm like, it's really funny. Like literally, like for 4 weeks I've been driven around in.
It's funny that you say that.
I'm like,
because I did like 20 interviews a couple days ago where I just blatantly said what car it was. So,
okay.
So when you said that, I panicked.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah,
It's in your director's statement.
Oh, it's in my director's statement.
I mean, kind of want to.
Yeah.
It's a cool car.
It's a great car, but it's just funny. Like, and now every time I see it, I'm like, oh, like I just see it drive by, and I'm like, this is like triggers me.
Me too. Me too. I see it and I'm like, oh man, that car.
Man,
there it is.
I know that car way too well.
I'm going to toss it to the audience a minute, but I want to squeeze in 2 more questions. I have to ask about working with Sam Raimi, and you both had experience working with him. David, I'll pose this to you first, but Bill, definitely chime in, because I believe you did Boy Kills World just recently with them. What is something about Sam and his team as collaborators and producers on your movie that not only helps get it made, but gets it made the way you want?
Okay, that's a great question. So a lot of times directors have the experience of they're gonna make a movie, they meet with the producer, and they go, this is the movie I wanna make. And in the head of the producer, they're like, okay, we'll hire this guy, but I really want it to be this. And then for the next 2 years, the two of you fight, and one's pulling this way, and one's pulling this way, and the movie you end up watching is this sort of half this, half that kind of thing. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's this compromise. And the thing that's so incredible about working with Sam is that he sits with me, and I tell him the movie I want to make. I describe it, I walk him through what I want to do, and he goes, all right. And then he's my partner making that movie, And he has so many good ideas, and he's as helpful as other producers out there, like just, I got this, but he's pushing in the direction that I'm pushing and not pulling. And so he's just an unbelievable collaborator, and it just so happens that I had to be, he was like an idol to me growing up. So those two things together are weird to me, because I snuck into Spider-Man 2's premiere to see him in person, and now I work with him. That's wild, but it's the industry, I guess.
Want to add anything?
No. I think that sums it up. Yeah.
It does make me really happy. I love him as a director, but it makes me very happy to see him use his platform and his voice in this industry and the resources he's built to support other people doing the job as well. And I feel like I should shout that out to the world as often as I can, so I'm going to say it right now. I want to make sure to end on this question. It's something I try to ask as often as possible, because making movies is hard, but there's also a lot of joy when you're doing that hard work. And I just had recently a director tell me, just it made him so happy to make a movie and see the joy that his cast and crew had on set while executing his vision. So for both of you, can you single out the most joyful moment you had on set making Locked?
Oh, I want this one. Because it was joyful. It was just, you could just see, we shot it in 19 days, okay? So it felt like there was a bomb strapped to my chest, If it was a joy to work with you. It was a joy to make this movie. It was a joy to see it come together, but it was terrifying. I mean, this is an independent film, and Bill, he's here, and Anthony Hopkins is in the movie, and Sam Raimi, and you look at it and you go, oh, it looks like a big movie. It's on a big screen. But it was a tiny little movie, and I'm not kidding you when I say that we all put blood, sweat, and tears in it, and the joy was, I think, for me, was believing in what we were making and going, all right, it's gonna hurt, but we're gonna make it, and I believe in it, And I don't know. If that sounds exciting to you, you'll probably be a filmmaker.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like it wasn't joyous for me. I'm not kidding. Part of it was torture. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, and it's just like every take is just like agony. Take. And I was like, it was exhausting at times. But I'd say, like, I mean, working with Anthony Hopkins was really fucking cool. It was really fucking cool and intimidating and the whole thing. I mean, I remember the first time I was there, and you know, he wasn't before we started to shoot, and I was like, okay, are we gonna have like, I mean, the whole movie is the conversation between these two guys, and like, when does he come in? Are we gonna have like rehearsals? And and they was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. He's gonna call in every time we do the takes, and he's gonna be there, and that ended up not being the case. But I remember, I mean, this is getting a bit long of an answer, but like, we rehearsed in a car, like a normal car. Where it was like, yeah, we're gonna, and Anthony's not in Vancouver yet, and he's gonna call in. And we're gonna like go through the movie in you know, a rental car that that I guess you drove or whatever, and that was like, okay, and there's so much, and the connection was bad, and he couldn't really hear, and I'm sitting there going like, this is the whole movie is this, and he just kept ad-libbing, I remember. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm like, oh, I have so much dialogue. Like, he's not, like, David's not saying that my line is, you know, so it's like very, very bizarre. But then he showed up, and he had, you know, he had so, I mean, he loved this character, and he had so many ideas, and a very sort of William perspective that wasn't, part of it was in the script, but a lot of it he came with, you know. And then the scenes that we did, the kind of back and forth, maniacal laughing blood, like the just insanity of that, of these like, you know, when Anthony went, it's like, just two crazies in a car, Bill. Just two crazies. And I'm like, yeah. But that, and then that, you know, I don't know, something happened on that. I mean, it was tough, but we just started improvising. A lot of that is just improvising, and he started improvising, and I started improvising, and it just became this like kind of full-on crazy, two crazy people in a car being crazy and improvising, and just the dynamic with that, and it's fun to see it as well. But I mean, that was a bit of magic, and then like afterwards you're out of it, or you're like, I'm on my way home from set, and I'm like, I just danced with Sir Anthony Hopkins, and boy did we dance.
I'll tell you, I went I went to the place we were staying, and my wife was there, you know, like she wasn't on set that day. I got home, and she was like, how was it? And I said, that was the best day of filming I've ever had. I was like, I think we captured magic. Like, I just watched two of the greatest living actors like go at each other. Like, and I mean, sure, the script supervisor at one point was just like, what's the point of anything? And Michael Ross, the writer, who's amazing, he came into the tent, he's like, someone said like, hey, what's going on, you know, did you write it? He's like, it's great, just let him keep going, you know? And I'd go over and I'd be like, you gonna let an old man talk to you like that, man? Like, fucking get back, you know, like, and I would kind of egg him on a little bit, and it felt like we were all, you know, it felt like we were going off a cliff together. We were just like, and I just went home and I went, if that scene works, it's gonna be cool.
Can confirm it's very, very cool.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna try to squeeze in 2 questions. I saw the first hand right over there.
Bill, I love the versatility as an actor, like you're always present. What is more constricting? Is it filming an entire movie in a car or being under Nosferatu prosthetics?
Just in case anybody didn't hear that, it's about which is more constricting, filming in a car or filming under lots of prosthetics like Nosferatu.
Yeah, I don't make it easy for myself, do I? Like, Yeah, very, very, very different. And I mean, the having a lot of prosthetics on is physically restrictive and annoying and stuff. But there's also a great sort of liberation in it. Like, and for that character as well, I was like, all right, you know, like, when we rehearsed that movie and I didn't have the makeup on, I'm like, I hate myself so much. Like, I just can't. I need the face to perform through it, you know. And then it becomes liberating. I'm like, I am a 300-year-old fucking vampire, and, you know, like, you know, wah. So there's something to that. With this one, it was, like, I just, you know, I really missed my like, you know, and I did, like, that's also why I appreciated the dance with Anthony Hopkins, you know, like, so much of this production is just like, it's just me and a camera and Dave. And it's just, you know, and a first AD reading lines, and, you know, so there was this kind of thing of a challenge in the space was helpful because he is trapped in the car, so that's should be restrictive, but the thing of, like, you know, and I think at one point I was like, this is the whole movie is a fucking self-tape.
You said that to me and I laughed about it for like a week. I'm like, oh my god, it is.
Yeah.
I'm so
like,
sorry, Bill.
You know, like, there's no, like, what am I looking at when I'm talking? Like, there's nothing, you know. It's like, well, I keep your eye line kind of here, rolling, and you're like, yeah. And, you know, part of acting, at least for me, is you have to kind of give in to this illusion that you have to really believe that this is happening, and that becomes harder when, you know, there's a camera here and there's a little cross here, you know, and the first AD is overperforming William's dialogues at the time. No.
We love you, Pierre, if you're watching right now.
No, Pierre's awesome. He was great. But you know what I'm saying? It was just like the fakery of it. You had to kind of like, because it's a crazy thing that we're doing, but, like, you have to go to this place where you believe that this is real, even though it's not.
All right, one more. I'm gonna go right there. That's the hand that I saw first. I promise I will lose sleep over not picking the rest of you.
Hi, great movie.
Thanks.
If you were trapped in the car yourself, what condition would you hate the most? The extreme heat, extreme cold, the tasing, what?
Oh. Knowing myself, it would be the loneliness. It would be just the total isolation from humanity, which I generally just feel on a normal basis. So you know, so
This whole movie is a metaphor for your life.
yeah, it's what it feels like.
Life to you is being trapped in a car torture. That's just existence.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, so it would be the total isolation and lack of any human interaction for a long time. I'd spiral.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a funny little trivia thing is that when it was cold, I was really hot. and when it was hot, I was really cold. Because there wasn't an air conditioning working in this fucking car or whatever. So it was just like, just put him up, like, you're freezing, put every piece of clothing you have in light air, and then, like, we're painting you, like, cold, with cold color.
A lot of cold paint.
A lot of cold paint, cold lips, and I'm just, like, shivering, and I'm sweating so much. And I'm like, this is fucking performance gymnastics here. And then, of course, when I was, like, in no clothes, and they're, like, spraying cold water in November on me, I'm, like, freezing, and I'm supposed to be sweaty. But if I would have to pick toward, like, I don't think the heat's that bad. Like, I like saunas, you know. Like, I think the cold would be the thing, and drinking pee, you know. I don't know.
Yeah. You should be happy this was an indie film, because if we had, like, studio money, you know, we would have been working in, like, a meat freezer and doing that, you know.
And the performance would have been so much better. Okay. Yeah. He's really cold. Bring in the surströmming.
All right, we gotta wind this down. Before this gets drowned out by applause, I'll just say, if you want to see more super ambitious, independently made films like this, please spread the word about Locked. Go out and see it, celebrate it, talk about it nonstop. And also because I know there's a bunch of people we haven't name dropped who worked on the movie in the audience. A huge congratulations to all of you as well. This is one heck of a feat.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. There's so many of you. Thank you.